We're going to check out VLC's new 200 gigabyte arcade build. So this is what he uses for his arcade, custom built. This is using the synthwave theme. You should be able to change other themes on it as well, but let's go ahead and have a look at this one. Alright, on first boot, you might want to disable the music. It does come pre-installed with some music. You do have a loading screen. The loading screen is a synthwave style loading screen for RetroPie, so I recommend maybe leaving it all the same as it kind of has that consistent theme going on throughout. This is for the Raspberry Pi 1.2 gigahertz, not the brand new one, but as you may have heard, there is a brand new version of RetroPie out right now for version 4.4, which does run the Stretch OS. So with that, you should be able to update this image to Raspberry Pi Stretch to the 4.4. This is on like 4.3 point, whatever the latest 4.3 was. And I'll do separate video on that. I was told it does work, but I'm going to go ahead and do it firsthand just to double check for all of you. Now, let's get into this image. Let's see what kind of games we got. 200 gigabyte, you know, it's a nice size. The SD cards are getting a little cheaper. So let's see what we're able to put on here. All games, 4,848. So 4,848. And what we have on here, arcade games, 2,272. So a massive MAME collection. So if you want every single arcade game ever made, not every single one, but massive arcade sets, look no further. Another thing where a lot of this space is being used is in those video snaps as well. You might be wondering, hey, you know, that's not a lot of games for 200 gigabyte, but there's a lot of really good games on here, and these aren't just thrown in with, you know, Amstrad, Apple II, and some of these, you know, older systems where the games are, you know, maybe a megabyte each. So they're not inflating the total number of games on this particular image. But as you can see here, a lot of fighters, side-scrollers, shoot-em-ups, racing games, wrestling games, you name it. It looks like this thing is totally loaded up. I'm just going to do a quick scroll, all your Metal Slugs. Okay, so it looks like your Neo Geo is also sprinkled into the arcade set here. So it's Neo Geo Arcade, Final Burn Alpha in here as well. Just looking at it, it's got the Street Fighters and everything. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Simpsons, Ultimate Mortal Kombat, the Nintendo Verse games, the X-Men games. But looks like, I mean, all the video snaps are here, which is nice to see. You know, a lot of times when you have a big arcade dump, you get a lot of Mahjong games and games that you might not ever even play. So this is looking pretty good. Moving along, you got Sega Genesis 684. It is Genesis, not Mega Drive. All right, Nintendo 781. Something I noticed is for the non-arcade games, look like there is no video snaps. It's just the JPEGs on those. Just JPEGs on those. So Nintendo, same thing. JPEGs, no video snaps. PlayStation 332. Okay, now it makes sense why we only have, you know, 5,000 games about, and it's because of this massive PlayStation collection. So I'm going to go through here pretty quick. Again, no video snaps for PlayStation. So I can see now why he might not have used video snaps, because wow. A lot of PlayStation games. So let's just go through these real quick. A lot of Final Fantasies, Gex, Grand Theft Auto, Gran Turismo 2, Grand Theft Auto, which one is this? London, 1969, Guilty Gear, Harry Potter's, Jet Motos, Marvel vs. Capcom, Mortal Kombat's, NBA, some sports games, Rated Rumble. And these are going to run really great on the Raspberry Pi. PlayStation runs well. So nice to see. And then you don't know Jack. RetroPie settings. And then we have Super Nintendo 779, so all your SNES needs. And then back. So it looks like, you know, VLC's been pretty good about this in his previous images, which is he doesn't do all collections. He doesn't just do these massive, take everything you want. He typically does things that he plays a lot of, which I find is a lot of what other people play a lot of. So if you're looking for an image with just, you know, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Genesis, and arcade, and PlayStation, huge collections. Now I would have liked to see Nintendo 64 on here, but I totally get it with the Raspberry Pi. A lot of people say don't even touch it. So for those people, it could be the perfect image for you. So let's go ahead and see how much space we have left on this image. So it looks like out of the 180 gigs available, you have 23 gigabytes available of the 180. Now I have this on a 256 gigabyte. All right, I've now expanded the file system. I have this on a 256 gigabyte SD card because I couldn't find my 200 at the time. But it should fit on the 200 gig, no problem. The file size on here is 179 gigabytes, which is 192,786,989,000 bytes. Now, as you see, once I expanded the file system, it's no longer on a 200 gig or 180 gigs on the bottom center here. You're going to notice this says 235 gigs. So now instead of 23 gigabytes available, I now have 77 gigabytes available. So you can do a lot with that. Add your Nintendo 64, add your portables, all that stuff. Very, 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 very easily. Now let's go ahead and test an arcade game here. Let's try it with 1943 in here. No bezels. Looking pretty good. Looks like there's some shaders on here. Which, you know, when you play these games in the arcade, they're on those little CRT monitors, and they definitely looked like this. Cool. So this is running great. And let's just load a non-vertical game. So let's try, you know, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So it looks like he has a couple versions here. Good to have all of them. So what do we got here? Probably the two-player and the regular Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Turtles in Time, and then these are either the two-player versions or the one-player version. Okay, so the two-player version. And basically the difference between these versions is like the amount of players that they hold, as well as if you're able to change your character or not. Let's just play the original for now. But do know that between those two different versions, some of them, like when you die, you're able to change your character, and then others, you're stuck with that character, for example. So again, we got the shaders on, and as you see, it's a non-vertical game, but it is going to load properly where you get the correct resolution. So, picked my character, there's a fire, we got to save April, and it's running good. So again, some scan lines, hit buttons, all hit buttons. Got some fire, we got a ninja star. Oh, that guy's laughing. Oh, I got hit. All right, cool. So that's running good. Start select out of it. Select will be our hotkey if you bound that in the beginning. And then let's go ahead and I think people want to see probably some PlayStation footage. Let's try Darkstalkers, the Night Warriors. So it is running the PSX Rearmed, which is a really good emulator. Should run no problem. And there you go. No bezels. Looks like we do have those shaders still on. If you want to remove the shaders, it's very easy. Just hit select and X, and then you should be able to get those shaders through the RetroArch menu here. I believe it's here, shaders, there you go. And then here you go. So right now it's on crtpi.gls. You can just go ahead and change these shaders here. Just go in and change what you want. You can go right here, stock.gls1, click it. Don't forget to do apply changes here. Okay. All right. After you're done apply changes, resume. All right, and there you go. Shaders are off. All right, we're going to Egypt. I need some redemption because the last video I did, I lost. All right. So there you go. Another thing, so I'm on fast mode right now. That's why it's so fast. Another thing I want to show you that's cool with the PlayStation is you can go in here and you can enable enhanced resolution. That'll be a little nicer. Let's try that. try it with this one disabled. All right, still doing that little twitch. Okay, so if you do the hack, you don't get the frame lines. So pretty cool. Working good like that. Cool. So that's working good. PlayStation's working good. Let's just finish off with a Nintendo game really quick. Oh no. What a clunky game. All right, okay, you get that. All right, so there you have it, VLC. You got 23 gigabytes left. If you're interested in a PlayStation or arcade set, this is a cool one. As I mentioned, the 200 gigabyte SD card is getting a little cheaper, so it's a nice starting point. I would say where I really see this thing benefiting is, back in the day, Mad Little Pixel released a PlayStation-only image, and so these PlayStation games are nice to have. I know a lot of people don't like setting up PlayStation, so having that all set up for you. And then you are using a lot of that space for PlayStation. Now, if you want to grow on this image, you want to add those other games like Nintendo 64, things like that, it's very easy. Just drag and drop your ROMs. This should auto-configure. This is just on a RetroPie base. Again, you should be able to update this through the internet now that RetroPie 4.4 is out. So overall, I'm going to give this one a B+. It would get an A if you just want PlayStation and arcade. And so for that category, it gets an A. As far as all the other 200 gigabytes out there, I think some people might be more interested in one that has, everything already on it for them. So that's why the grade for those people looking for the everything images. But if you want a nice image for your bar top, for something that, only plays these systems, which, if you're like me, I probably spend 80% of my time in these 4 systems. I'd have to say Nintendo 64, Dreamcast, and PSP are also pretty high on my list, but these are on the list. So with all that said, that's what I think. Let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.